Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So, sister, there is a new way to be human, or so I'm discovering about myself. I think it is the ultimate way to be human. And this is not something that's most likely going to blow your mind, but it's intentional, conscious choices that I'm making every single day, which is a few things, but is this main thing, sister, which is this, is to choose love in every moment that you possibly can. Now, let me sidebar this for the moment. This does not mean denial of feelings. This does not mean suppression. This doesn't mean if you're pissed, put a happy face on. My mother, love my mom, but she did that for a long, long time, if not maybe still doing it in her life. Or she would put a smile on her face, but she'd be pissed. It's very confusing as a kid growing up under that. She was doing the best that she could at that time, but yeah, you gotta feel those feelings. Like, you have to get them out. You have to be in it. I heard Pema Chodron. Am I pronouncing her name correctly? She is a Buddhist nun. I believe that she's the only Western Buddhist nun. And she's written a lot of books. And I heard on a recent Oprah podcast episode. And she was talking about a practice, and I forget what it was called. Compassionate abiding. That's it. Compassionate abiding. Which is, I think it was kind of something like, well, how do you get through those kind of, like, how do you move past that suffering? Like, what, And the first part of that was only to accept what you're feeling, but to, like, really feel it. Really feel the pain. Really feel the sadness. So what I'm saying to you is to come from a place of love, sister, and to have that as your intention and your compass. It doesn't mean that you deny the other things that are coming up in your life. Not at all. But once you have moved through, expressed, felt, experienced, screamed it out, cried it out, whatever that is you need to do to feel, to be fully in that experience, is to move back towards love. To be fully human is to be in a state of love as much as you possibly can. My definition. My feeling, my belief. Be fully human. To, instead of be reactive, like this woman that was next to me getting her nails done today, kind of, people are next to you, right? I'm not overhearing I heard her conversation. They're right next to me, right at the nail salon, and she's talking about how she has to go back to get some surgery done at the Mayo Clinic. And then after that, she's kind of rude which is so weird. Number one, weird to Victoria. Number two, just weird in that nail salon, because they're all just so lovely and nice when a lot of them are family and that work in there, and they were just really polite and kind to her back. But I remember kind of like thinking, and she's just like, yeah, I'm thinking like, you know what, she's kind of treating them a bit like shit. I'm not okay with this right now. And in the past, I probably would have done what I thought was the good thing to do. I'm going to stand up for them and say it's not okay for you to treat them that way. I understand you want to get that color sample thing that you're looking at, the color for the nails, to choose from. But, like, they'll get it for you a minute. Like, just kind of, deploy a little bit of patience here, maybe. And, but I didn't choose that. I choose to instead hear what I heard her say before. And even if I didn't, but remember her saying, she's like, well, I go in for surgery tomorrow. I leave tonight. I get on a plane to go to Arizona. I'm going to be at the Mayo Clinic. I'm going to be there for at least 3 weeks. And I thought, man, she must be frightened. I don't know what she's going through exactly, but she must be scared. She's an older woman, probably in her mid-50s, or probably mid-60s. And, she must be afraid right now. I wonder if that's where that's coming from. I wonder if she's kind of counting down the minutes into what, she has to, like, go under and whatever that she needs to experience for her body to heal, or to, whatever that is, to be well again. Like, that must be scary for her. And when the gentleman doing her nails said, well, who's going to be with you? He's like, well, my daughter and my daughter's husband and their kids are going to come up for a little bit. So she's, clearly not married. So she has no partner in her life to be able to bounce these things off. Like, that must be really difficult. That must be scary. And so I sat there next to her and silent in my head, I sent her love. I sent her blessings. New way to be human. The way to be human. Again, past me would have been reactive. At the very least, I would have been silently judgmental. I'll just be straight up. I would have judged the shit out of her. I would have been like, you're mean. You're not a kind person. You're impatient. Like, these people are not your hired help. Like, they're serving us. Be thankful. All that kind of stuff. But I think of that. I think of that when my oldest son, Tyson, tells me about some kid that he saw at the pool yesterday. A kid that was in his school this past school year when he was in grade 2. That he's mentioned to me several times how this kid has not been. He's like teasing my mommy. He takes things from me. He's just not a... Tyson recognized. He's not like... He doesn't say it madly, but just as a matter of fact, he's like... He's very mean to me. I don't like it. And so we talked about how, often people who are that way on a regular basis, or even if just, in a moment, is that often what's happening is they're really hurting inside. And as much as it's important that we create boundaries and we don't allow people to hurt us, we don't take that stuff in, we let those comments slide off of us, we don't accept them as truth, because we know what's true and we know the goodness that is us. But we do send that person love and compassion. Because Tyson, he must be hurting if he does that with you all the time. Maybe it's the way he wants to be your friend and he just doesn't know how to interact and do it in a kind of loving way. Maybe he's grown up in a home where they just all poke fun at each other, and that's his only way of showing love that he knows. Whereas in our home, it's dramatically different. I love yous all day long, hugs and kisses, like you're awesome, I like all of these things. Us to our kids and our kids back to us. New way to be human. To be in love. To come from a place of love as often as you possibly can. Do not deny the feelings you're feeling, but understand that there's only one true emotion. Like, that's love. We have all these other emotions that are part of the human experience, but just know that it's not real. Fear's not real, guilt's not real, blame's not real. When you start to kind of really understand these things and you realize and recognize that your mind has gone into fear and not into a place of love, it's an easier thing then to move through that. Challenge becomes when you start to believe the lies that your mind is telling you. A new way to be human is to come from love, is to have compassion, to have understanding. I think it's the very first of the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey, who's no longer alive, but what an amazing gift he gave to the world with that book and all of his books and all of his work. And if you don't know who Stephen Covey is, holy shit, Google him, read his book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And I believe the first habit is to, how's it go? Seek first to understand before being understood. See, we all want to be heard and seen and acknowledged. But really, it's the flip of that. We will be heard, seen, acknowledged when we hear, see, and acknowledge others in front of us. And yes, even the stranger who's taking care of your nails, or the stranger next to you in the nail salon like me today, or the barista at Starbucks, or the construction worker across the street. Come from love, sister. So here's what I want you to do. There's a different more tip for today. Number 1, I want you to go ahead and like the Woman Wanting More Facebook page. So if you're not already following that page or like that page, go ahead and like the Woman Wanting More Facebook page. I'll put the link in the show notes for this. And number 2, I want you to write a post up on there and share what came up for you with this podcast episode. I would love to see tons of your comments and feedback. This is a way for us to really share together as a community. So go to the Women Wanting More Facebook page, like the page, and then put a post on there and comment of like, hey, this is what came up for me when I heard this podcast today on a new way of being human. All right, sister. Finishing up the Women Wanting More newsletter. If you do not already subscribe to it, do that right now so I can send you some amazing trainings and be part of this tribe. And that's at drkarenosram.com/action guide. Number 2, join the sisterhood. You can do this work with other women who are like you. You will collapse time and get there faster when you do this together and not in isolation. That's not how we were designed to do this work or any work on this earth. Because we're all connected. This is a way for you to do this inside the sisterhood. So head over to drkarenosborn.com/sisterhood. And the first 7 days is my gift to you, is free. And number 3, make sure to subscribe to this podcast. And I would greatly appreciate if you leave a review on iTunes so we can help get this message out to more women that need to hear this message also. All right, sister, I'll talk to you next episode. A life of more is one step away from you doing the fucking work. And yes, coming from a place of love as often as you can. Every single day I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborn.com/newsletter.